Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minute. It's great to have you. I'm Carl. Thanks for tuning in this afternoon. And so we just jumped into a trade here on LinkedIn a little while ago, and it's pulled back just slightly, but all the bullish indications are still there for this stock to run higher. Uh, Go look at Tesla at the highs of the day, up about $8 right now. We'll take it. This is what we've been watching and waiting for, and it's working. Anybody caught some fish? Let's go for the top two today. I have two for you. I found two really good setups. Some of the other stocks that I was talking about earlier today, thanks Vegas, um, they fizzled right at the close, and these two held out. And so one of them is Colgate Palmolive, CL on your chart right here, and this is a nice looking bear trend rider bear signal. And so whenever I look at these stocks, I look for the bands to expand, and you can see the bands are expanding without showing you the Bollinger Band width down below, which is rising. You can see the bands expanding. The stock is going into the band down here. Doesn't have a lot of strong volume, but still in that lower band is expanding. You see the RSI breaking through 50 up here, which is another important part of the picture that we want to see here. This looks to run down. I'd trade this to around the 62.50 area, 62 to 62.50 area. See there's a little bit of area right through this, a little bit of that could be support down here, really below where we're at now. That's about the next level. Besides that, I mean, really, that's not that big of a level, but other than that, it's 61. 61 would be a little bit aggressive right now, but that's a nice looking trend rider bear setup on Colgate. I told you that was one of the ones that I looked at. Nice ace. That was one of the ones that I was looking at earlier. Okay, another one that I found here today, I've been watching this, is AIG. So this is a bull vibe signal. I got the wrong, gotta be bringing the vibes here. Bull vibe signal. So you got the averages rising. You've got the indicators rising themselves. The MACD also, if you can't see it, look at the strong volumes today. Look at the bullish engulfing pattern that we have today. This is a strong looking setup. The strong volumes suggest that this can break up through that 50-day average, which you can see it's been hitting recently. That volume suggests that that can happen and push up over the $50 area. Really a break of the 50. You can see how this stock, the lows just keep getting higher and higher and higher. Now you got some bullish candle action and a run up on some big volumes. I like the setup. This is a bullish play. CL is a bearish trade. You're right, AK. It looks like it's channeling, but again, with the volumes and the bullish candle and the lows keep getting higher and higher and higher, we're setting up an ascending triangle pattern and looks to break out. Yeah, that's what I saw the same thing. Looks to be channeling, but again, look at the lows. Oops, wrong button. The lows keep getting higher and higher, and today's volume is suggesting a breakout. That's why I put it on my top three. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Price target up here would be over 51, about 51.50 level. A stop here, a tight stop would be the 7-day moving average. I could easily move that down to the $49 range. It's a fairly tight stop, and a break higher here, you could see a very nice move when this thing runs. It looks really good. Okay, so that's I got two for you today. And I've been told maybe I should rank them. I should do things. If I don't find a full three, then I'm not going to give you a full three. I'm only going to give you the setups that I think look the best. If I can only find one of those, I'll give you one. I really like the action here on KeyBank. Exactly. This is a big breakout potential. I'll get into that. So, and if I can't find anything, I won't give you anything. I'm really going to put some time into these and an effort to make sure I feel comfortable with them. Okay, no, I really like Key Bank at this point. This is another bear vibe signal, bull vibe signal. Wrong button. All the average is still rising. It had one a couple days ago, right? This was on my top three just recently. I don't have my paper, but and I don't need it. But my top three just recently, but a nice bullish signal here. I think it was 2 days ago, if my memory serves me correctly. But today's same thing, another push up like that. This time breaking up through 13. You look at the volume. Now the volumes are pretty good, and you don't need the volumes for a bull vibe signal. But when you get them, it just adds that extra oomph to the trade. Yeah, this still looks great. I mean, if I was here, I wouldn't be going anywhere. If I bring in the Bollinger Bands, it is now triggered a TrendRider bull signal. Bands expanding. See the bands expanding. It's off your chart, but believe me, the bands are expanding. You can see them expanding right there, and it's breaking up out on some nice volume. And guess what? We're in an uptrend. These trades, when you got both of these setups, including the volume, tend to be pretty good. Yeah, Holly, good one. Ford. Been watching this one today. It was down earlier and has reversed to come up. Well, guess what the market did? Somebody woke the buy the dippers up. It's down, but it's come back pretty big. Now let me look at General Motors. Now Ford has been big time underperforming General Motors, and look at this, and Ford's outperforming them today. Where this has gone sold off during the day, look at Ford, it's done the exact opposite. It's come back during the day. Okay, but if you're looking at this technically, it's still in the band. Yeah, you can say it's closing just inside the band. It's still below the 7. It's kind of a bullish candlestick here, right? It's not a perfect gravestone. Call it a shooting star type pattern, but it's got the principles. Dragonfly, but it's got the principles of a dragonfly. Support for it right here, 1625. It's not a huge level, but this would be one if you got in. If you want to let the trade play out, play it till it moves back above the 7. If it doesn't and it comes back down, then it's going to go lower. But yeah, that was a nice looking bull vibe. TrendRider bear signal from yesterday. I know some of you jumped out this morning early, and some probably still in it, but again, right now it's still below the 7. What would be concerning for me if it jumped back above that 7. But this is one of those days where it was off and now it's back up, and it kind of leaves you out there. Baidu. Yeah, AK, it's reverse. It's right there on the 7. And this is one of those testers and one of those big time decision makers as a trader that we get to make. So it's not closing below the 7. It's closing like right on it. Tesla did the same thing last night. If you hold it, it might jump back up. If it runs gaps lower tomorrow, that would be concerning. So the question would be, and I showed you 2 examples yesterday of one stock that I think it was MDT, Medtronic, closed just under the 7, and then it dropped yesterday. Yet if you looked at, I think it was Procter & Gamble, that closed just under the 7 the day before, and it went up. So it just reduces the odds of going higher when it closes below. It doesn't mean the trend's over. Another way you can look at this also is look at prior level. Here's a big number right there. At 170, big number. Multiple of 10. It broke up through it. Now we're retesting it. If you get some action that comes in like this tomorrow, then this thing's probably going back to 180. So it's just one of those. If it was me, I'd hold it. If it was here today, if I had calls, give it another day. If it gaps below the 7 and doesn't show any strength tomorrow, yeah, it's not ready to go through 170 and hold it. I'd give it another night if I was in Baidu. Lin Media. Okay, I can see what you're looking at here. there's not a lot of, you can't see that, not a lot of volume, trust me, not a lot of volume today. It is a very bullish candle, but the fact that it sold back off right at prior resistance right here. Oh, I mean, if you look at it though, it's overall it's got a bullish pattern going on here. But I'd like to see this. It's a nice breakout candle, but there's not a lot of volume. Um, it might give you another chance. It might come back a little bit and try to make a push higher. It might just take off tomorrow. It's a tough call. But where it sold off like that into the close, it just lessens the odds a little bit. There's still bullish odds here, but to me, it just lessens it just slightly to see that. Nice, Ace. Good for moving over. Yeah, Tesla. It's happy to come home and see Tesla like that, huh, Tradehound? Yeah, it apparently it got some news. I've been busy with the challenge trade and getting my top three. John posted on there a possible new model. Is that right, John? John's been helping me out this afternoon on chat. He's been able to dig into that kind of stuff, but there was a little bit of news out on LinkedIn. A couple surges on LinkedIn today. I had one earlier this morning. I went out and looked for some news, and there was news of them adding two supercharger stations back east here in the U.S., and it took off. And then I think a little bit later on, I think John posted in there that some news out on LinkedIn, and this is not on LinkedIn, on Tesla. This is what we've been waiting for. We jumped in over here on that big nice candle. It goes below the 7, runs higher into the close. It jumped up a little bit the next day, sold off. Today is a bull vibe signal. This is exactly what we've been looking for. Price target on this is 155, and this is one of those stocks that might go right here to 160. But we're going to look at 155. But really the bigger level is going to be the 160 mark. But at that point, we'll likely take it off. Thanks, support. A little link there for you on Tesla. Dallas, let's go look at LinkedIn. So, whoa. Let's go look at LinkedIn here. Okay, so we've had a gap. And I don't like to play gaps too often, but what's this done? It's run up, rolled back, dipped below the 7, and has run higher. Okay, when you get this type of price action, the moves like that tend to be upward from there. It puts the odds of the bulls, puts the odds in favor of the bulls for this thing to run up. It's off of a little bit of a downturn. You got a little bit of a doji in the dragonfly pattern now, which is another little bullish pattern. And so we're looking to play this higher. We went to January options on this. And when this is a stock that can run $3 to $4 a day is almost an average day, but can run sometimes $8 to $10 a day on those gaps. It hit a low, had a rebound, jumped out of that, come back, retested the 230 mark today, jumping up off of it. Looking for this to run up towards the highs here, which the price pattern would suggest. The stop on it is basically today's low. 228 is going to be the stop on this. All right, about two contracts of LinkedIn Januaries. They're the Januaries, the 240s. Okay, and that's two strikes out of the money. I've been asked a lot about that. It's got a great risk reward scenario. Even if LinkedIn drops $5 to the market, it's not going to be that painful for us. Plus, the breakout potential here is big. It's really high right now because these trend rider bull signals, which we got just about a week ago, they can last and play out for quite some time, sometimes a couple weeks. All right, so the potential here for this to jump quite a bit higher. And out of the money allows us to play for this type of a move. And we're out for quite a while now. Again, January options, so we got a lot of time in those. Okay, and then once the stock moves about $5 higher, the delta is going to kick in, and it's going to rise, which can make the move even better. Okay, so we're looking for this thing to run up towards the 255 area, the recent highs, uh, and it's a nice looking bullish setup. I like the price action. We spent a lot of time looking at, Jeff and I were going over this. We're looking at, the weekly December week 4 options, the January 1 options, but the January monthly options were the ones that priced the best between the risk and the reward scenarios that we wanted to see. Okay. So that's why we went there. That's why we went out of the money. And looking to see it run higher. I'm excited. Every time I'm like a little kid, you guys, when making new trades on some nice looking setups. I really get excited and I can't wait to wake up the next morning. See what present's underneath the tree for me. Just read through some of the chats. Sorry, I'm not a radio guy, but I always hear him say that you should never have any dead airspace. But I'm not a professional broadcaster, so I guess I can have dead airspace. Because I know you guys like me anyways. I hope so. Nice trade down. Good. Got in at 695. Good. Frank Santa been bringing you coal? I don't know if you've seen that commercial where Santa's, I think it's a U.S. Postal Service commercial, and Santa's there with one of his elves packing a bunch of coal, and the guy behind the counter says, "I didn't know that coal thing was real." And Santa looks at the guy's name tag and says, "Absolutely," to the guy's name, and then the little elf pops up and starts writing his name down on the bad list. You guys like the dead air? Good, good. Because when I'm reading chats, there's going to be a little bit of dead air. I'm not one of these guys that can multitask. Oh, thank you, thank you, thanks, Joe. I know some guys that can sit there and read and carry on a nice conversation, and I've seen guys play the piano really, high, very, to me, a very aggressive piano playing, and sit there and hold a conversation and not miss a beat. But I got to stop and read for a little bit. Some of the other stocks going on out there today. Let's check out how Apple. I know again some Apple traders out there down slightly. It's been consolidating here, which isn't bearish. It's not bullish. 560. If it broke 560 on some volumes, it could be bearish. But and you could look at that and say, well, that's a little like a gravestone. But you notice it's just consolidating. It's just flat. So you don't really trust those. If this had dropped a little bit and you saw a gravestone or a dragonfly, then you got something. But where it's just going sideways, the candle patterns are going to mean nothing. Okay, so I wouldn't be to where to get bullish on it now. A strong push up above the 7, you got a bull vibe signal. With CL, yeah, CL is a bearish trade and it's run lower from where we just talked. This is a trend rider bear signal. And the reasoning here, the reason I like the setup, you look at the RSI breaking 50, the Bollinger Band's expanding. And again, it's run down, I don't know, quite a bit from where we're looking at this. It's at the lows of the day. And this thing could come down to the 62.5 area more aggressively. 61, that's pretty aggressive. That's really the next big level of support below it. But you'll catch something here around 63, 62.5. Catch a little bit there. I'd look to play it down to about here. The consumer staples today just got rocked. It's one of the worst performing groups out there for sure. Yeah, this is a put trade. Now with these, and all this is more of a learning. I give a top three. Typically, I would go a couple strikes in the money. I don't think I'd be going December's right here. It's just too close. It expires next Friday. That's pretty darn aggressive. You could do what you'd like, but I'd probably go January options here, monthly options. It's still going to make some money as this thing drops. Okay. Micron, couple little bullish candle patterns here. It's kind of consolidating, so they're not going to be that accurate, but this is still bullish. When it comes down, hits the 7, bounces up, holds it, holds it. It's not breaking below the 7. I would give this to get bearish. I mean, I wouldn't go buy puts if it closed below the 7. All it's doing, and most likely, because see the uptrend here, if it did drop below the 7, just look for it to close back above it and then get back in. Way too early to think puts here, but if I had calls, I'd still give it a shot here. It's got some big volumes. It just 23. There's a little bit of resistance. There is some resistance there. However, this is still bullish action. Now, if it gapped below the 7 and stayed down there, then short-term bearish. Chipotle. Okay, this is look at this. So what it's done now, 520 has been support for it. It gapped underneath that, ran up to the 7, and is now running down. See how it's now running down? That's bearish price action. If this continues to grow here into the close, which it looks like it's doing right now, it's pretty bearish. If it forms a, this is an interesting one because that could close with a gravestone, and it's been running down here. But the fact that it gap below 520 is running lower is bearish in my book. You look up here, you can see the RSI broke through 50. Okay, it's not a trend rider, a bear. It's a trend rider bear trend. It's not a signal right now. This is a just bearish candlestick action. This thing could come down to the 510 pretty easy, but 500 level likely be the first stop. Going way down here is just not likely going to happen, to go way down to fill that gap right there anytime soon. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Our ARC. 3D. 3D here pushing up like this. It's bullish to see it come up like this. If I was in a trade, I wouldn't get out. This would be a second bull vibe signal here. Doesn't like to get past 80 much. It's done the same thing over here. It still continues to step up there with the 7. The volumes are pretty decent today. It looking like it wants to break through 80, is likely to do it. It's a good looking setup. As far as an entrance right here and now on it, there's better ones out there. But if I had calls here, I'd still stay in. It's still showing the bullish things here. GMCR. So if you had calls here, this is one of those big decisions you got to make. It's right on the 7. Do you hold it? Do you let it go? This broke through. The 7's always not magical, right? It broke through 70. We're coming back to retest that level. This is just one of those questions. You could give it till 70, which you got a little bit more risk on the table. If you're thinking of buying in, I wouldn't buy in here with calls or puts at this point. 70 would have to break to go bearish on it, and it's quite a ways up from 7, but it's just right there on it. So do you hold it? Do you sell it? I'll let you answer that, but that's just one of those tough calls that you get to make as investors, where it's just right there. A lot of times I'm going to hold them. You can see the volume's light here in the sell-off. Sometimes I'll sell them. It just kind of depends on the volume and what's going on in the chart, and it's right on it. There goes the bell. Netflix, yeah, man, nice. Nice breakout on Netflix today. Set a new high, close to the upper band. Now you notice it was a failed gravestone. You know, and also you look at the gravestone; it's come up slightly. Yeah, not a bad looking gravestone. A little bit higher over in this point would have been. No, it's a decent looking gravestone, but it failed and just shot higher. That's very bullish. Yeah, I mean, if you got calls here, no reason to go anywhere. It still looks great. The volumes have picked up a little bit. It's not astronomical, but they've picked up the last couple of days, which is even more sign that this has higher to go. Not that one. AIG, I would go January here. I know the market just closed. I'd go January here, about first strike in the money calls on AIG. It's where I'd be looking because I got quite a ways. January options, they got a little while to expire. Quite a while. Yeah, the market sold off a little bit here into the close. Now it did drop into the band. It did drop below 1780. There's just, I mean, it's a small confirmation here of a head and shoulders pattern. There's, like I was stating earlier, you got the FOMC meeting next week. What if they don't mention taper? What if they say no, 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 we're not going to taper, and they move the goalposts? What if the budget deal doesn't go through the House and the Senate? It's likely to, but what if it doesn't? There's just some factors on the table right now that, man, this little bit of a pullback could mean nothing if some type of news breaks out like that, and this thing could be right back up. Okay. With Monsanto, sorry, Mosaic, yeah, nice. Nice job, SPM. It went down, and good job. Yeah, Martin, I couldn't argue with that. Thanks, support. Good job, SPM. Okay, Chris, let's talk about a head and shoulders. Now, a head and shoulders pattern, and thanks for bringing this up because a lot of times I just figure everybody knows it, but that's not the case. Okay, so a head and shoulders pattern, it's a chart pattern. Now, chart patterns are based on human behavior because when we're looking at the market, when we're trading the market, what are we really seeing out there? We're seeing people like you and I trade. And humans, given similar circumstances, are going to do the same things almost every time. So chart patterns, that's what they're based on, is just patterns in nature. I mean, I'm not a mathematical genius by any means. I did see the show. What was that show called with Russell Crowe? What was it? Dang it! A Beautiful Mind, I believe. A true story about some mathematical genius guy, and he could walk outside and literally in nature he could see mathematical equations that explained why things were the way they were. So we're not going to go there, but human behavior. So this is a topping pattern. This is a reversal pattern, meaning okay, we've been in a nice uptrend here. It forms one of these patterns. It's suggesting downside. It's suggesting hey, a move lower. Now, what can throw these patterns off? Well, the market, anything's possible in the market. If we get some good news out of DC, or they no talk of taper, or are they going to postpone tapering? Not meaning that's not going to happen this month. That could change things in a heartbeat, and the market could turn right back around. Um, but for the head and shoulders pattern, for this to confirm, you want the stock to break through what they call the neckline. And the neckline is basically the bottoms of the two valleys you're seeing here between those peaks. So here and here. Okay? So I'll just draw a line. I'm giving it 1780. You could argue the next line a little bit higher, but I always give it the bigger round numbers when it comes to these type of patterns. So that's the neckline right there. And you can see today it dipped down below it. Now, when these run lower, I'd like to see a little bit bigger break than that, but when they run lower like that, it's suggesting, okay, we've been in a nice uptrend here. It's not saying big time downtrend or a crash. And I mean, we don't know how far it's going to go. There's some price patterns here that you could help predict it, and I can show you those. But it's suggesting a reversal, something like maybe one of these, something like up here. There's a small head and shoulders pattern kind of right there. It's got the same principles of a head and shoulders pattern. You can see what happened when it broke, went down. Okay, this is also looking at this technically wrong button. Is also a trend rider bear signal. RSI breaking 50, bands expanding, dropping in the lower band. So there's some bearish technical reasons here for the market to go down. As far as fundamental reasons that could happen this week, then there you go. I mean, this could reverse in a heartbeat. And that's what throws off patterns and technicals all the time, is when the fundamentals change. Because the fundamental move is going to overpower any type of a technical setup. But that's just a real quick rundown on what they call a head and shoulders pattern. There's also a double top pattern, which would just be two peaks. If I took off this over here, you could argue, well, okay, it's a double top. And really, they all have the same principles. A double top meaning it hit a top two different times. Same thing on a double top. You take the valley between the two peaks is your point that if it breaks through that it's confirmed. Okay, and there's also a triple top. That's all the same type of thing. You always watch the lows between those peaks and give it that. If it breaks down below that, then it's a confirmed pattern, and which means it's likely to go down. You can also take the distance between the bottoms and the highs, and it's probably 25 points, something like that. I mean, 1780 to 18 like 05. I mean, without getting the exacts here, about 25. So a break lower is suggesting this could run another 25 points lower from where it broke out, which would put it down into this range, right about there, maybe right about where these lows are right there. That's what the price pattern here would suggest, and move right back down to about that point. Okay, so yeah, good question, Chris. Chris states that what is a reversal here in the S&P getting bearish due to the stocks that we're bullish on? Okay, it depends on the stock. If you're trading a stock that is not market weighted, or a stock that's only doing its own thing because of different types of news, it's going to have little effect. And if you look at here, you can see the big turns down here. The last 3 days have been down. You look at a chart like Tesla, it's just been going sideways, and today it's going up. Even though a big time sell-off yesterday, this had very, very little sell-off. It's not really reacting to the market at all. I'm not worried here about going bullish on a stock like Tesla. It's not market weighted. Not only that, with this news right over here on Tesla, everything changed. It changed the outlook for Tesla. I was asked, hey, I thought you guys were, a little while ago, got an email, and it was a great question. And the email said, hey, just about a month ago or so, you guys were bearish on Tesla, thinking double digits. And we were. We were bearish. It was selling off. And then things start to change. Notice it started holding support, 120, one of those big numbers. The next thing you know, and this was on this day over here where the arrow is pointing to, news came out of Germany that they were freed of any type of wrongdoing from the car fires that took place in their cars during some accidents. Things changed right there. Now the bearish news is no longer there on Tesla, and has changed ever since. And then you get some nice bullish consolidation back to the 7. When I say bullish consolidation, it means we had a big gap here and just kind of slowly went down. It's kind of sideways, coming right back to the 7. We entered right there. on that push higher up. It went below the 7 that day, turns around and runs up through 140. Very positive. And today, man, nice. This is what we were looking for, and we got it today. Okay, so yeah, I'm not worried about the market doing one thing and Tesla going along with it. A great question. Yeah, I mean, okay. Yeah, I hear you, Trade Hound, asking about maybe profits coming out before. You also got to remember with when they do some window dressing, they can be buying a lot of stocks. Okay, they might be taking profits, but they're also buying most likely somewhere else to make things look a little bit better and to show that they're funded. Hilton closed up 8%, up $1.64. First day of trading here on Hilton, 70 million shares today, and I know some of those were you guys buying into this. Okay, but yeah, it did good for its first day. We'll see where it goes. No, I agree, SPM. With that announcement today, things change here a little bit on Facebook. Look at the heavy volumes in here. The very heavy volumes today. You got a nice trend rider bull trend still intact. It's in the upper band. With this kind of news, this could come up here to the highs. Yeah, that's very bullish for Facebook. Okay, let's just run back through the top two real quick. CL close about the lows of the day. This is Colgate Palmolive trend rider bear signal. Okay, and then the other one we looked at today, AIG. This is a bull vibe signal. Nice for this one. We've got. I need to bring in the vibe. You can see the RSI breaking through 50 which is positive, but we're looking at it through the eyes of a vibe. And the positive indicators also have ascending triangle pattern. You got a bearish engulfing pattern today, a candle pattern, which is a positive, plus heavy volume. So you got an uptrending stock, heavy volumes, bull vibe signal, bullish engulfing pattern. You can see resistance has been right through here, but the odds are raised quite a bit today based on this the volume and the candlestick action that we're seeing here of a break higher. I mean, everything right here looks up on AIG. Okay. Tesla closed up 5.5%, up 771. So, yeah, good day. And then our new position, LinkedIn, down from where we got in, but still, this has all the possibilities here of a break higher, up above that 235 mark and break higher. I mean, it's a little bit of it's got a dragonfly. You could call this some different things, but a spinning top, a dragonfly, a little bit of a bottom here. It's come up on the 7, pushing up off of it. It's still showing the bullish tendencies that we're after here for our calls. Yeah, good question, Trade Hound. Am I bullish or bearish on Hilton? Give me a few months. I'll answer that one. I'll show you. I'll tell you. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your day. I know some of you guys it's early for you. Uh, it's fairly early here too. I will catch you guys tomorrow morning. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you then. Okay, take care. Bye bye.